The Arabic word Hima literally means protected, forbidden place. As underlined by a paper published by the International Union for the Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources, in pre-Islamic times, Hima areas were declared as such by individuals or by a tribal group who owned it. Later, its meaning evolved to signify a rangeland reserve or even a protected piece of land set aside seasonally to allow regeneration. Hima is clearly a pre-Islamic custom that has been, as several other pre-Islamic customs, inherited and adopted by Islam and to Islam. The Prophet Muhammad and the first caliphs resorted in reserving for the mounts of the Arabian Peninsula and the use of possession of certain pasturages, both for the animals, mainly Arabian camels, acquired by the treasury, and for the smaller herds belonging to the poorer Muslim. But how Islamic sources, namely the Quran and the Sunnah, frame the Hima? First of all, the Hima Institute must be read in the light of the famous hadith, "There shall be no Hima except for God and His Messenger," meaning that a protected area can be declared only if it is serving the whole Ummah, the Muslim community, and not private interest as it was in the past. Hima is then strictly interrelated with the concept of maslaha, namely public interest or utility. This interrelation signs a difference with the pre-Islamic era when the Hima was declared by and for the benefit of individuals and or tribes. The Quran, which recognized only the Haram Institute, as written in chapter 28, verse 57, according to some interpretation, does however make a discreet allusion to the institution of Hima in chapter 11, verse 64. "This camel belongs to God, a sign for you, so leave it to pasture on God's earth, and do not harm it, or you will soon be punished." This apparently refers to a consecrated animal which had to live in freedom on the territory of the god. According to Llewellyn, to be valid in Islamic law, a Hima must meet 4 conditions derived from the practices of the Prophet and the early caliphs and the early community. Hima should be constituted by the legitimate Islamic governing authority. It should be established in the way of God, namely for the purposes pertaining to the public welfare. It should not cause undue hardship to the local people. That is, it should not deprive them in terms of indispensable resources that are the means of their subsistence. And last but not least, it should realize greater actual benefit to society than detriments. But what have been the practical application of this concept? We can list some examples from Saudi Arabia and Lebanon. In the 60s, it was estimated that there were about 3,000 Himas in Saudi Arabia. Nearly every village in the southwestern mountains of the country was associated with one or even more Hima. Regrettably, nowadays, we can only count few Hima, even if it must be noted that Hima is not the only form of protected area in the country. In recent time, it seems that this concept is living a sort of revival, being perceived as a bottom-up process, highly and respectfully involving local communities and positively impacting the environment. As underlined by FAO, today in Saudi Arabia, the areas that have best withstood the ravages of human demands are the traditional Himas. Regarding Lebanon, one of the main actors in the country is the SPNL, the BirdLife National Park in Lebanon. The SPNL aims at protecting nature, birds and biodiversity in the country and promote sustainable use of resources through reviving the concept of Hima. Hima practical application in Lebanon have been performed in some villages of the Bekaa Valley, being even recognized by UN Women in 2014 as a powerful tool for empowering vulnerable communities by at the same time respecting and protecting the environment.